In this video, we're going to cover how to create a graded discussion so that you can give a grade and feedback to your students for their work replying to the discussion prompt that you provided. To get started, of course, we go to our course, and then on the left-hand side, we click discussions. And this would be where we would find any previously created discussions. And on the right hand side, on the top right hand corner, we're going to click plus discussion. Once we do so, we will get to enter a topic title, a prompt in this big white box, and then we'll be going over all the options that you have available to you for a graded discussion. I'm going to be using some previously typed up instructions to make this go faster, but I'm putting in a title. This is again what the students see the most. They will see this, especially for this graded discussion, they'll see this in their to-do list, in their calendar, in the module, wherever you add it. This is the first thing they see is this title. So it is important for it to be very descriptive. And then we can enter a prompt right here in this big box. I'm just using previously typed prompt here to speed things along, but we have a whole bunch of options here. We have the ability to bold, italics, we can align things as we need them to be, we can insert images, equations, so all those tools are available so that you can provide all the information you need to for your students to succeed and know what is expected of them. For example, I'm going to make this manually created list into an actual bullet list right here. And so here I am asking them to reply with their comments, their summary of a documentary they were asked to watch, and I'm also asking them to provide feedback to their own classmates as well. And as we scroll through, we're going to go through the options available. By default, this will be available to all the students in your entire course. If you're using several sections, you can modify this to be only for one particular section if you want to have a discussion board with a certain topic for section 1, but have a completely different topic for section 2. Here we have several options, the first of which is allow threaded replies. This is usually off by default, but we need to turn this on if we want the students to reply to each other as seen in the prompt. I did ask them to reply to each other, so I have to turn this on. Of course, if you would like them just to reply to you and provide feedback to you, then of course you would leave that off. An example of that is if you're asking the students to provide you questions they'd like covered during a midterm review, then perhaps you don't want them replying to each other. The next option might make sense depending on your prompt and your expectations, but you can make it so the students do not see the other students' replies until they've replied themselves. So if we turn this on, users must post before seeing replies. Then the students will not be able to see the replies until they themselves have posted. So that way they cannot be inspired by the other students' posts or anything like that. The other thing we're going to cover is the graded. So by default, the discussion is not graded, but if we click the box to the left of the word graded, we turn on that this is now a graded discussion. You will see that the ability to add it to the student to-do list has disappeared, which is okay because graded items always go in the student to-do list. So it by default is going to go to that student to-do list. And now we have several extra options that have appeared because we have made this a graded discussion. The last option that has nothing to do with the grading aspect is that you can allow liking. This, of course, might make sense in some contests, but not others. A great example is for that midterm review. If you're asking them for questions, perhaps you might want to allow them to like so that they can signal that, hey, I'm also interested in that question. I'm not going to repost the same question over and over, but I'm going to like that other student's post because I'm interested in that question. And that allows allows you to gauge exactly how interested people are in a particular question. So now that we have made this into a graded question, of course, just with the regular discussions, you can make it into a group discussion. We won't be going over that option right now, but we're going to go over the options for the graded discussion. So here is where you set up how many points this is worth. Again, a reminder that the total grade for Canvas is based on how many points each item, each discussion, each assignment, each quiz is worth. So, for example, if you have this is worth 10 points and another discussion is worth 20 points, then that discussion will count twice as much as this particular discussion. So we're going to make this out of 10 points, for example. We can choose how we display the grade. We can have it as points, so the students will see, oh, I got 5 points out of 10. Or you can make it percentage, complete, incomplete, letter grade, GPA scale. You have all these options available to you. We're going to leave it as points. Assignment group, by default, it goes into assignments. In the grading section of the Get Up to Speed course, you will be learning a little bit more about assignment groups and how they can be used. But for now, just leave it in the assignments group. You can also enable peer reviews. This might make more sense in an assignment setting, but it can also make sense in a discussion where you can have the students review each other's posting. Do keep in mind that you can have the replies to the discussion. So when the students do replies to each other, you can treat that as a peer review as well. So you don't necessarily need this more formal option, but it is there just like for an assignment. And here you can, by default, it's assigned to everyone, and you just need to set the dates. Of course, you can change this and assign it only to one particular section, just like the ungraded one. So that the option is now here. So instead at the top where we had post to, and it said all sections, we now have this assigned section that says everyone. So that's where it moved those settings about who actually gets to see and participate in this discussion. So by default, everyone in the course can participate, and we can set a due date and an available date. So the difference between this due date and these available dates is the due date is by which time is this considered on time, while you can have the until date be even later than the due date if you allow late submissions. So for example, let's make this due on the 20th, at the end of the day. We just click the little calendar icon and we click on the calendars. We can make it available from, we can click on today, and we can say from 8 a.m. today. We can enter date and time, click done. And then until, we can make it available until the 27th end of day. So that means that anyone, for example, who replies on November 21st, then they'll still be able to reply, but will count and be marked to you as late, and you can take that into account as you wish. But this is how the dates are. Available from is also very significant because the students will not be able to see or engage with this discussion until that time has passed. So they will not be able to reply to this until that available from date and time has passed. Once we're satisfied with the points and the dates, as well as the different options, we can go ahead and save and publish. This is what the faculty view is of a graded discussion. It says at the top that this is graded, and it says how many points total there are. It says when it is due on the right-hand side. So you notice an ungraded discussion does not necessarily have a due date. It just has a beginning and end date of availability. But this is a graded discussion, so we have a due date, which is posted right at the top. It also shows when this was created. It has the title, the prompt as well. And this is the faculty view. Let's now look at the student view of this graded discussion. So when we click here, you can see the name of the discussion. It says until when it is available. It says when it is due. All that information is right from the discussions area. When we click the name of the title of the discussion, the students again see that this is a graded discussion. They see when it is due. They see the title, the prompt, and then they have a reply button. And also because I turned on so that they can only see the replies once they have replied themselves, it warns them right here that you're not seeing anything because you're not meant to, not because nobody replied to this. So they get the reply button as usual, where they can, of course, compose their message. They have the same rich content editor that you do, so they are able to edit out the text. They can embed equations, images, so forth, all that. And it can also keep track for them on how many words they are using for the reply. And then they hit post reply when they are ready. The other thing to note is because this is a graded discussion, it also shows up for the students under the assignments area. You can see it right here. It says available until November 27, due November 10. It's worth 10 points. So it suddenly appears for them in the assignment section. Once they click on it, it's the exact same view they got as from discussions. And of course, on the right-hand side, you can see that the graded discussion is on the to-do list on the home page of the course for the student, saying this is worth 10 points and having the due date right there. So the due date, the title, and the amount of points are always first and foremost in front of the students.